I still put Liverpool slightly ahead. I think the bookmakers it's difficult to disagree with the bookmakers over in England, but I just turn it around. I just think Liverpool they've got that 3-point cushion. You know, Klopp will be building them up. It's going to be game by game, all that usual garbage that we hear. But I'll tell you what.
Think that Liverpool, Manchester United can be taken care of better by Liverpool than, say, Manchester City?
No, definitely not. Because look, it's the fiercest rivalry. You know, you know exactly, as a player, you know that when you go into that game, it's bragging rights for your fans until the next time that you play. And if you make a mess of it, then you know you're going to get it, and you're going to get taunted, and you're going to get you know, dog's abuse as far as the crowd's concerned. You know, if you're a City player or a Liverpool player. So, you know, we've said it before. So many twists and turns. It's not easy to predict, but because of that 3-point cushion and the goal difference, what is it, 3 or 4? Was it just then? It's not insurmountable that Liverpool can get there because they have got some firepower. They could have scored more goals today. They weren't as clinical as we would probably like in front of goal, but it's going to be a fascinating run. No two ways about it.
So quickly, who's your pick then?
I'm going to stay with Liverpool. I mean, I picked Man City right at the start of the season, but I just feel that with players coming back, and also there's something to note. Liverpool have got a 10-day gap in between games, so they can get players refreshed. You know, maybe he'll take them away, have a good chat with them, and so on and so forth. Really tee them up for this final push.
Paul Mariner is joining me once again as Liverpool continue marching and flying in the Premier League with another resounding win, this time at the expense of Bournemouth. But it is a win, Mariner, that many of us would have predicted. As a matter of fact, we did predict it. But what impressed you about this win?
I think it was getting Wijnaldum back in the side. I think he just, to me, it felt as though he hadn't really missed a beat. He scored a fantastic goal. I mean, great run in the box, found beautifully with a pass, and then a sublime chip over the goalkeeper. They didn't really have to get out of second gear, really, Liverpool. You know, they were just, as you were, Bournemouth didn't offer much of a challenge. They were sort of sitting in 4-5-1. Liverpool had all the play. It was just a good team performance. If you look at the overview of the side, everybody played okay. You know, nobody was...
Just okay?
Well, nobody was brilliant, but nice to see Keita getting some minutes where it was a comfortable game for him. Boosted his confidence, didn't play too well last week. So that'll be good for him. And then my mate up front did well.
Well, what about a certain Bobby Firmino? Because we were singing his praises. You were absolutely on fire watching him.
Look, I mean, the back heel for Salah's goal was, I mean, it's sublime. I mean, the touch, the vision, the awareness. It's that link-up play, what he does. He does so much for that side. You know, everybody, you know, thinks about the high press and thinks about the, you know, Mane and Salah with the blistering speed. But it's that knitting together, that link-up that Firmino does for me, and he's quite remarkable. I just wish he'd score a few more goals. I think he'd be the total package if he got a few more goals, but for me, he's still the total package.
Well, they have to thank a certain man for that confidence, and that is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. We just have a look at the hot streak that he has got Manchester United on, Maris, and it is just absolutely brilliant to think that they are still unbeaten. This is their 10th win in 11 games under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. There was, of course, that draw. I mean, it's amazing what we're seeing.
Think about the state of the football club when he came through that building. And everybody's scoffing, oh, Solskjaer's been doing the television over in Norway, what's that all about? But what he's done, he's got the staff together. Look at the togetherness of the staff. Mickey Phelan coming in, I think that's a genius move, because he was with Sir Alex for a long, long time. Absolute genius move. When you look at the togetherness of the staff, that filters through to the players on the training ground, it filters through to the players on the match day field. It's such a feel-good factor, feel-good factor. And people might poo-poo and say, that's just, you know, froth. It's not. It matters. It's not. Because the way that Mike Phelan and Solskjaer and his staff and Carrick, the way that they individually go around and talk to players, it's massive. It's massive. And it's not to be understated what a job that this lad has done.
Well, with that said, let's get to some questions now, shall we?
Yeah, why not? Why not?
All right, well, with exactly what you just said, we have a good question from Bobby, and he wants to know if Man United win those next 5 games, should Solskjaer get the job permanently, especially after what you just said, the whole romantic thing, the feeling that is around this team. This is a great audition for him so far. He's passing the flying colours. Why not?
If he wins those 5 games, I don't think it's a question of should. It's will. He 100% will get the job. Look, as I said earlier, everybody was sort of Solskjaer, you know, what's that all about? But look how he's transformed this club. What else could this lad have done? He couldn't have done anything else.
Yeah.
And Sir Alex and Sir Bobby Charlton in the stands and all the hierarchy, they can smell it, you can feel it. They're around the players as well. They know what's going on at that club. And when you factor in, okay, who's available? Can they get Pochettino? Can Pochettino do a better job? Will Daniel Levy let him go? Who else is available? Zidane's not ready, doesn't speak the lingo, all this sort of stuff. So he's making an incredible case for himself.
The quote that everyone was waiting for from Thomas Tuchel on Edison Cavani's injury. Not good news. Striking the ball, having to come off is concerning. If Eddie's not there in Manchester, of course it is big. Yes, there has been a lot of bad luck. We do not have a second Eddie or Neymar. So, heading into the first leg at Old Trafford, what might PSG's potential starting 11 look like? This is one suggestion, according to our Jonathan Johnson. Matteo?
Yeah, I mean, other than Marquinhos playing in the center of midfield, he doesn't really have to shift around too much. Draxler used to be a winger. He's played more as a central midfielder with Paris Saint-Germain, as has Di Maria, who has played on the left for PSG. And with Kylian Mbappe, of course, they're never out of the game. And he's absolutely right. They don't have another traditional target man like Edinson Cavani anywhere on their team. But look at the pace they have up front now with Mbappe centrally. That's going to be dangerous.
Still a pretty good-looking team, isn't it?
Yeah, but not as good as it could have been.
So how worried are you if you're PSG?
Very worried. Yeah. You look at that midfield, and I don't care what Marquinhos has done or hasn't done. I look at that player in the midfield. If I'm playing against him and I'm Paul Pogba and it's a matchup between me and Marquinhos, I'm liking Paul Pogba. It's simple as that. And then you look at other matchups as well all over the field when you project against Manchester United. The speed in transition that they have with Martial, with Marcus Rashford, their ability to get forward out of the midfield with Paul Pogba and Jesse Lingard. Which one out of those guys out of the midfield tracks back for PSG naturally? Naturally. Who's actually the guy who's going to win balls back? Is Draxler going to track back? Is he going to be the guy that's going to provide you some presence defensively?
So, and
is Di Maria going to do that job? No chance.
And Verratti and Paredes have barely played, have they?
Yes, I think it'll be a back three, though. We've seen this from Tuchel, Marquinhos, Kimpembe, and Silva, the 3 center backs. So it's not going to be a case of Marquinhos actually playing in the midfield. He'll be dropping back in between the other 2 in his natural position. That also allows Bernat and Alves to get
and
forward.
then who defends out of the midfield? It's still the same question.
Verratti and Paredes, they play as a holding midfielder. They can defend.
And Verratti hasn't played up until this weekend. So you don't know exactly what you're going to get from
Paredes plays in front of the defense. Verratti Verratti's a good defender.
Okay, so what you're saying is that you would take this team over what might have been.
No, of course I'm not saying that. I'm saying that. Someone, you said who can track back? They have 2 who can track back and play in front of the defense.
When I see that, if I'm Manchester United, I like what I see. I'd rather play. I like what I see, and I can expose that team. Whereas a month and a half ago, I would have said, man, we're in trouble. Now, if you're Manchester United, you got a chance.
I believe Mr. Marcotti would like to weigh in on this debate. Gab?
No, just following on from Friday, Dan was talking about, how wide open the Champions League was, and people were talking about, as many as 6 or 7 teams could win it. I suggested, hey, what about maybe Manchester United? And everybody giggled a little bit. But I don't know that you necessarily want to giggle now. If United can get by at PSG without Cavani, without Neymar, you consider that, one out of Liverpool and Bayern are also going out. One out of Atleti and Juve are also going out. Maybe if it's as wide open as everybody says, maybe it's not that crazy, is it?
Hey, Gab. Oh, there, Gab, yeah. Excellent. That'll save you patting yourself on the back.
Real Madrid closing to within 5 points now. Of course, Barcelona don't play until tomorrow when they go to Bilbao. Ali, come to you first on this, because you tweeted out in the immediate aftermath of this game something I'd like to draw the viewers' attention to. Champions League performances by Real Madrid, organised defensively, physical and intelligent in the midfield, efficient on the counter. Today, Solari was better than Simeone as well.
Yeah, so which one do you want to
All
touch
of it.
upon?
All of it. Just expand for us. Your thoughts in the immediate aftermath.
Well, when I said it's a Champions League performance, it's because this is what we have expected from Real Madrid over the last few seasons in that competition. And it is a far, far removed performance from what we saw early on this year by Real Madrid in La Liga. Today, organized defensively, it was a team that knew exactly what they wanted to do, knew what they wanted to do out of the midfield as well. They created all sorts of problems for Atletico Madrid in the midfield because Thomas was the only player that was really willing to defend out of the 4 guys that were playing in the midfield for Atletico Madrid. And then whenever they forced turnovers and whenever they forced Atletico Madrid into areas where they could get those turnovers, they're going on the counter and they're going quick. They're using the speed of Vinicius, they're using Benzema, who's a guy that can give you an outlet, and then Luka Modric find them the runs in behind as well, of whether it's Gareth Bale, whether it's Vinicius, whether it's Lucas Vazquez. Today, Real Madrid, this version of Real Madrid, looked to me like a team that can certainly compete in Champions League.
What you said about Solari, I love what he's done with his personality. He's come in, he said, Marcelo, you're overweight, on the bench. He's looked at other players that have maybe gone out at night. Isco, he's not training hard. He's going out and having fun on a night. You're on the bench. 2 years ago, he's one of the top 3 players in all of Spain. He's put in Reguilón in the place of Marcelo, a kid from the youth academy, and said, I hope that this is an example to all the kids in the youth academy that you can make it if you work hard. He's put in Vinicius, the young teenager, and he's done so well in the spot where Isco has played very well. So to me, that takes a ton of personality, and you're absolutely right. Organized, taking chances, and it's done brilliantly.
When you look at the stats overall in the game, it was fairly close, but Hoffenheim making the most of their 6 shots on goal. Gab, let's start with you on this. Please explain how, just how on earth did this happen to Dortmund?
Well, it's remarkable, Adrian, especially when you consider just how absolutely terrible Hoffenheim were in the first half, and really for the first 20 minutes of the second half. You know, he made a bunch of attacking substitutions to Julian Nagelsmann, and then obviously it was one of those things with Sancho hitting the post, the chance that was missed by Alcácer. I'd love to say that had Marco Reus's veteran leadership have been there, had Lucien Favre been there, let's not forget, he was missing 2, he was down with a flu, his assistant was on the bench, then maybe they could have settled things down at the end. It's one of those things that I think they need to move on. They need to tell themselves that they were by far the better team. They could have scored 7 or 8 goals, and the ones they gave up at the end were pretty much freak occurrences. I don't know if they'll do that. I'm not going to say it's a turning point in the Bundesliga race, although we'll see Bayern, I guess, in a minute. But this cannot linger in your heads.
Stevie, I'll ask you to put your old centre-back's hat on. How does this happen from a defensive perspective?
To be honest, I think that the problem Borussia have is they're inexperienced at the back. Diallo's early 20s, Hakimi's 20, Weigl's only 23, and then you've got Piszczek on the other side, who's the opposite, who's 33. So you've got 3 guys who I don't think are experienced enough, and the 4th one, well, and the goalkeeper. I mean, Burke for me. Some of his attempts in this game in particular were horrendous.
Is that ever going to change, though? I mean, just the realities of Borussia Dortmund. It is a selling club. They buy young players, develop them, then when they get good enough, they go off to bigger teams.
But it's a problem. At the end of the day, when you look at this team, the problem isn't going forward, the problem's going the other way.
It's not a surprise, though. We saw it in the midweek in the Pokal as well against Werder Bremen, how they struggled to defend. And if we were to pinpoint as to what the frailties of this team are, you're going to start at the back. And part of that is, yes, the lack of experience, but part of that is recognizing, okay, look, we've given up a goal, it's 3-1. Maybe this is an opportunity, this is a moment for us to just get behind the ball. Hoffenheim is not good enough to break us down. Let's make it difficult for them. Instead, you continue to attack and just keep the game stretched. It's impossible to manage a game when you do it like that, and Borussia Dortmund sees 2 points walk away. That maybe makes them nervous going forward.
I believe this edition of ESPN FC Extra Time should be sponsored by Pep Guardiola's sweater.
Then it's going to be colourful then.
Multicultural, it's multi-dimensional.
Okay. How can a sweater be multicultural?
Well, first of all, is it a sweater or a jumper? That's
well, it depends what country you come from.
Well, it's
from the UK, it's a jumper.
Been a subject of fierce
from here,
debate.
It's a sweater.
Jumper or sweater?
Vest.
It's a vest.
What about a pullover? Is it a pullover?
No.
It was special, is what it was.
Gab Marcotti is also with us. On the subject of multiculturalism, our first question to Matteo.
Oh, you've lost your Italian
See
accent.
you, Gab.
No,
See you again.
it's on that
He's
subject.
lost his Italian accent. Where would you on the show?
Is Matteo a fake Italian or the real deal?
Do you want me and Gab to have an Italian conversation?
Controversy.
Norse. I was born in Italy, okay? Let's ask the
yeah,
question
yeah,
of Gab.
yeah,
Let's
yeah.
have another
Hey,
Italian
hey,
thought,
hey.
me and Gab.
If you do this, then
I don't even, if you tie my hands behind my back, I'm not going to speak. All right, Aspen, does that answer your question? Tie these hands, I
You
can't
refereed.
speak.
When you went to referees, did you do that as well?
Gab, come on. Come on, Gab, give me some of
Referees in
this.
Italy, you got to do that.
You know it, Gab. You know it.
Look at these suits.
How do we
Look
tell?
at Gab's tailored
How do we
suit.
tell?
We're a very, very broad church in Italy. What I want to point out is that just because you can speak Italian doesn't actually make you Italians. There's people Italian in Switzerland
We were both born in Milan.
as well. Yeah, what hospital were you born in?
I've told you. He asked me this.
I think roughly translated, he doesn't believe you.
We're getting very specific here. We're getting very specific.
I do not remember. I have my birth. I'm going to send you my birth certificate.
She don't know what you...
I don't remember the name of the hospital. I have my birth certificate. I'm going to bring my birth certificate next week for you, Gab. All right? This is a war. It just started.
Personally, I was born in St Andrews.
I don't
What
remember.
about you, Ali?
Policlínica Barquisimeto.
Okay,
Mayday Hospital.
Why are you all on the Gab, my side?
Gab, hold on, just...
Clinica San Carlo San Siro.
I'm embarrassed. I have to have a word with my parents why they never told me. No, I'm not having this.
The truth.
What's your name?
What's my name?
What's your name?
The Calcio guy.
To be continued, I believe. I don't think we've heard the last of this, but we're going to move on. Where does Real Madrid stand now, Ali? Take this first. In contention for La Liga after the win in the derby. Looks like Solari has got a real game plan. You were tweeting avidly.
Yes, they have a game plan. However, that doesn't erase how poor they were early on in the season.
Right.
And when you play in the league, whatever you do early on in the season still shows up late in the season. And so I think the difference in points could potentially be 8 if Barcelona beat Athletic Bilbao. I think that's too much to overcome.
Yep. Okay. We'll just move swiftly on then.
Okay, then.
How does Manchester United's turnaround reflect on certain Mr. Mourinho's skill set / talent as a world-class manager?
You know what? I'm not going to say anything.
You know?
Just look at the league from when he left to now. That's all you need. That's all you need to look at to get the answer to that. And actually, we should point out we're talking about his skill set, the way it is now. We shouldn't forget that at one time, absolutely, he was probably the best manager in the world.
Is he still a world-class
But for some
manager?
reason, he's changed.
Yeah.
And now we've got this version. But let's not
So
forget
is that version
he was.
not still a world-class manager?
No, this version is absolutely not.
Definitively. Gab, you agree?
No, I was going to be all snarky and sarcastic and say actually it was clearly Mourinho's preparations earlier in the season, and now Solskjaer's just reaping the rewards of all the hard work and tactile organization and sort of motivational exploits that Mourinho put together. But I don't even feel like doing that. No, look, they have an outstanding team. They have a huge wage bill. They have very good players. They should be beating people. The reality was that under Mourinho, for a whole bunch of reasons, many of them his responsibility, maybe not all of them, it was excuses, it was negativity, it was a total loss of belief. And I'm not saying anybody could have done the job Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did, not at all. But all it took was somebody to come in, be a little bit more positive, believe in the players a little more, and the players simply regress to the mean. It's not surprising that they beat the stuffing out of Fulham because they're that much better. That is normality. Under Mourinho, what happened was the Overton window got moved, so all of a sudden, all these crummy, insecure performances were the norm. All of a sudden, all these players were seemingly terrible, except for Matic, of course. Now, some semblance of normality has returned.
So, Mourinho back to Inter? Is that something that would You would welcome
He, out of all the clubs he's been at, maybe barring Portugal, I think Inter is where he's really seen as a hero. He is beloved there. He had a group of players that loved him as well. Maybe the last time that a group of players loved Mourinho was when he was at Inter, because ever since then he's left teams in a heap of fire.
Well, he shouldn't go then. Because he might make a mess of that.
Question. I do have a question.
Go on.
This is.
Oh, you got to send it in. You can't just ask questions.
We'll let him.
No, well, because I was going back to the initial question about, fake Italian.
Oh,
here.
jeez.
This is key.
Matteo,
Why is this happening to me? What have I done
from this? But
When you go to Italy,
Yes.
do you order from menus?
I order off menu, just like Gab does.
not off the menu, just
Isn't it?
off.
Off menu.
script
of
entirely.
course.
Okay.
You know
Is there
that.
one thing? Actually, can I ask a question, Ali?
Yes, yeah, go ahead. You don't even have to send it in.
Thank you. Actually, Gab, is there a question that you can ask another Italian that pretty much only an Italian would be able to?
Well, where he was
The
born.
hospital.
Where he was born would be one.
Either pronounce it or, is there anything? It's like a Scotsman. All Scotsmen, if you showed them the place called Ochterarda, that's how they would say it. Yeah, exactly. If you weren't a Scotsman, you wouldn't be able to say it. Is there anything like that? Just to add on to the hospital one.
That was enough for
Well,
you.
I think every single Italian would know the starting lineup of the team that on July 11th, 1982
That's not fair.
became world champions after a wait lasting 54 years.
Gab's a baby boomer. I was born in
gonna say,
87.
well, I wasn't even born then.
How was I born in 87, Gab? They don't
How
have
about the
footage.
2006 lineup?
Are we doing this now? We're doing this now?
Gab, 3-0.
Go for it. You should rattle it
Gab.
off.
3-0.
Dino's off, 82.
Buffon.
Gab, I can give you that.
Marcotti 3.
Pirlo,
Benazzi
Gattuso,
0.
Cannavaro,
So it's not fair, guys. It's not fair.
Fabio Grosso.
It's not fair. Hey, I don't care how much you say grazie.
Let's let Matteo off. Let's bring it forward to modern day Italian football.
Let's do it.
Bimal wants to know: are you happy with the direction Italian football is in? heading in?
Ask Gab. Gab would know.
Here in 2019, Matteo and Gab, are you happy with the direction Italian football's heading?
You want me to go first?
Yeah,
Yes,
go on.
absolutely. I think Serie A bringing in Ronaldo as well for the biggest marketing star in the world was absolutely massive for Juventus. Building privately owned stadium is also a step in the right direction. We're seeing more and more clubs following Juventus by doing that. So I think that has to be the next thing, where you get rid of these old decrepit stadiums that aren't owned by the actual team and move to a model like what we've seen from Udinese, from Juventus.
Yep. Goal scoring's way up as well. Gab, are you happy?
That's because defenders disappeared.
Yeah, I'm happy. I mean, I think the single biggest problem that we had in Italy, I think, was just horrible oversight, horrible short-sighted owners, some of them ending up with serious legal issues, and just sort of a general sense of impunity. And we hit rock bottom after Calciopoli. We stayed there for a while. And then slowly, they're getting out of it. If you look at the number of sort of normal owners in Serie A, the number seems to go up every year. And when you reach critical mass, then you can start passing rules. You can start, more importantly, enforcing those rules. And everything else follows from that. I think from the quality of the football display to the belief in youngsters, which we're seeing this tremendous generation of kids coming through. Cristiano Ronaldo obviously doesn't hurt either. There's still a long way to go from the days when we ruled the world, but little by little, we're climbing back out of our hole.
Nice Serie A paid advertisement there.
Big time.
For finally, Big Red Machine, getting to the heart of the matter. Stevie, say a few words without your Scottish accent, says Big Red Machine.
Hey?
American accent.
Without your Scottish accent, apparently.
How am I supposed to do that?
Well, but you said that you were almost fully integrated. You said that last
Yeah,
week.
I haven't got to the accent part yet.
What people don't know is you're actually putting on this fake Scottish accent, but you're speaking to me with an American accent back in
Do you know
the
what?
in
I
the
tell you what,
coffee
there is actually one occasion where I always have to try and speak with some sort of an American accent. And that's when you phone and you speak to one of those machines on the phone.
Siri?
Right?
Correct.
So I give it the old Scottish
they don't
accent
understand.
and they go, Sorry, I have no idea what you're saying. Can you repeat that?
And what would you say?
So then I've got to go to the alphabet and go A-E-I-O-U. And they go, oh, okay, Emerson and Cooley, we're ready to
From
go.
Louisiana now?
Is that something that, yeah, I was going to say,
So look at right.
Yeah,
You're from the Bayou?
I don't know, a little twang to your A-E-O-U.
It's the only way they can understand me in the pod.
little Dukes of Hazzard thrown in.
Yeah, what's
Yeah.
I don't know why you go country.
just be generic? Why from Alabama?
Well, I have no idea. I have no idea.
Does Siri understand you?
No.
Siri, yeah, absolutely.
Right.
If I do that.
Maybe this is to be revisited too. Lots of items to be revisited. We will have,
We have an answer already as to the most crucial question.
we have a tomorrow show.
Fake!
All sorts of highlights to bring you. City, Chelsea, Juve in action, Barca in action. We'll bring you it all. ESPN FC on Plus.